and welcome to the Mushroom Murder Trial podcast, your go-to source for updates on this gripping legal case. I'm Lisa, your host and podcaster, and I've been following this case closely since 2023. Before we get into today's update, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and sign up for our newsletter, please, at mushroommurdertrial.com. And edition number 3 was sent out at the beginning of the week. Now, today is mostly about mushrooms, or, as it's called in science, mycology, the scientific study of fungi, and Erin Patterson's presentation at Monash Medical Centre after the lunch. But let's cover a few formalities before diving into what happened in court yesterday. Erin Trudy Patterson, a 50-year-old teaching student from Leongatha, is currently facing but denies 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. She is accused of deliberately serving a dish containing death cap mushrooms to her former in-laws and extended family during the lunch at her home on July 29, 2023. Allegations she is pleading not guilty to. Following the lunch, Don and Gail Patterson, both aged 70, died, as well as Gail's sister, 66-year-old Heather Wilkinson. Heather's husband, Ian Wilkinson, was critically ill in hospital but survived. Now, firstly, to Erin's health in the aftermath of the lunch. Monash Health Emergency Registrar Dr. Laura Muldoon gave evidence in court. She told the jury there was, quote, no clinical evidence on July 1 that Miss Patterson had mushroom poisoning. According to Dr. Muldoon, Miss Patterson had dry lips but otherwise appeared well and was discharged from hospital that same evening. The patient had been transferred to Monash Health's emergency department after presenting on July 31, at Leongatha Urgent Care, complaining of diarrhoea and abdominal cramping. When asked by prosecutor Sarah Lenthal whether there was any clinical evidence of death cap mushroom poisoning with Erin or any other toxin, Dr. Muldoon answered no. Another Monash Health doctor, Dr. Varuna Raghu, referenced Dr. Muldoon's notes, stating, quote, she wrote in her notes there were no concerns about that kind of poisoning because liver tests were all in the normal limits. Next up was Dr. Tom May, a former principal research scientist at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Melbourne, who gave evidence by partly narrating the jury through a slideshow about death cap mushrooms. He explained that these fungi are non-native and were first reported in Canberra. Oh, so we can blame Canberra in the 1960s. Since then, they've been found in New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania. The expert told the court the fungi forms an obligate relationship with certain trees, typically oak, beech and chestnut, and they only grow nearby. Now, some of this evidence is scientific, but I can't describe it or define everything because on Australian law, I can only report what the jury hears. So apologies. The court heard the fruiting body of the mushroom is most common in April and May, though it can also appear in summer or winter after significant rainfall. Once sprouted, the mushroom's fruiting body, that's interesting, the top bit, can last for several weeks, while the underground mycelium may survive for decades or even centuries. Describing their appearance, Dr. May said the mushroom cap is usually, quote, greenish or yellowish, but may be whitish or brownish. Next, jurors were shown 3 photos of mushrooms provided to Dr. May by a Victorian police detective. The first image showed about a dozen mushroom caps spread out on a tray. Prosecutor Nanette Rogers asked Dr. May whether they were consistent with death cap mushrooms. Dr. May responded, these photos are consistent with Amanita Phyllodes. I have a high confidence it's consistent with that. Other words, death caps. However, he added that other mushrooms could appear similar. Another image shown to the jury, depicted 5 mushrooms on a scale. Dr. May said these look consistent with field mushrooms and button mushrooms, the kind that you find at supermarkets or greengrocers. He acknowledged it was possible they had been foraged in the wild. In Victoria, Dr. May said sightings of death caps occur mostly in metropolitan Melbourne, particularly in the eastern suburbs. However, he noted there have been 3 sightings in the East Gippsland region, one historical record at Morwell, which is where the actual court hearings are taking place, and 2 recent ones at Outram and Loch in April and May 2023. These were posted on the citizen science website, iNaturalist. Questions then focused on a post Dr. May made on the site where he identified death cap mushrooms in Outram on the afternoon of May 21, 2023. He explained that he had been in the area to give a presentation to a local group about fungi when he came across the mushrooms during a walk. Posting under the name of Fungi Tom, Dr. May geolocated the sighting to within 20 metres. It was in Outram, and I believe it would have been Nielsen Street, Outram, he said. Jurors were shown a screenshot of the post. Dr. May said the location was, quote, fairly accurate and that he had dropped a pin to indicate where he spotted the mushrooms. In cross-examination of Dr. May by Erin Patterson's lawyer, Sophie Statford, she walked Dr. May through 10 images of the mushrooms, asking him to identify which were consistent with death caps. He acknowledged that image quality made identification difficult and said, some images do not reflect the actual colour of the mushrooms, which can make it difficult to determine the species. He added, for all of these images, there might be a possibility it could be something else. And that's what I have for you today. Until next time, I'm Lisa. This is the Mushroom Murder Trial podcast. Thanks for listening. For more information, go to the website, mushroommurdertrial.com. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter. Plus, I'm on all the socials, so they're in my link in the show notes. And if you feel like rewarding me for the thousands of hours I've spent on this work, I have a Buy Me a Coffee membership, which allows you to pay $5 to say thanks and I get a coffee. This goes towards editing, studio hire, liability insurance, equipment, etc., etc. Plus, I just put up some exclusive membership material yesterday on the site just for you. So have a fabulous day and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.